So some of you already know what's going on the ground if you've been following me for the past couple of days, but it's really good out here. It is the feeling is great. I have not seen, and this is relatively anecdotal, but I mean this is a good indication usually. I have not seen a single yard sign for any other candidate, and this is go out to vote. Like, this is go out to vote time, okay? So like this is the moment where things heat up. This is the moment where you're supposed to see yard signs. You're supposed to see at least organizers and canvassers. We have not seen a single person canvassing in Nevada in the way that Bernie Sanders has. Bernie Sanders' canvas army is incredible, and this is genuinely important.
You love your father, the devil.
Castro is straight up caucusing at the East Las Vegas Community Center.
You don't love
what the hell, dude? You can't do that if you're out of state. Hey, not sure if this is from the same place. I think it might be, but putting it in this thread in case it gets taken down later. What are the punishments for illegally caucusing? Julian Castro's punishment is he's going to Central Park. Poggaroo! Poggies! Julian Castro, see you at Central Park, brother. Listen to me. So there is rap mode shit going on. We already mentioned it. So, okay, let me just go into the exit poll stuff really quickly. So this exit polls are not the most reliable, okay? Or entry polls are not the most reliable, and exit polls are usually not great. But I'm gonna tell you something, guys. This is the most consistent thing that we have seen through and through. The most consistent thing that we have seen is that in almost every single entry poll, exit poll, 60+% of people are interested in abolishing private health care. What the f***? What the f***?
Devil.
If you watch mainstream media, you would never, ever in a million years arrive at that conclusion. You would never see that reality. I thought everyone in the culinary union in Nevada, all 66,000 members, were so upset, even though the rank and file personally came out and said, no, we are with Bernie Sanders, and no, we do want Medicare for all. What happened? Huh? What happened, MSNBC? What happened, CNN? You liars. These people are lying, okay? When will people realize that mainstream media is exclusively working to propagandize and legitimize the cruelty that we all experience under capitalism? This is their sole purpose. This is what they do. They are doing everything they can, but thank God we still have thank God we still have the democratic process, or what seems to be like the democratic process. Early vote wave. Oh my God, Sanders with a 31% on the Hispanic vote, 51% on the Hispanic vote, 31% on the white vote. Biden has 36% of the black vote. Sanders has 25% of the black vote. This is an entrance poll based on 2,122 interviews, almost all of which are from early voters. Biden surge, baby. 13% of the Hispanic vote, and Biden has 12% of the white vote. Yo, when I was saying Joe Biden is actually a person of color, I was just memeing, but turns out that's the truth. They hate him. The whites hate him, man. What's going on, Jack? Why? I'm white just like you. I work with segregationists, Jack. I work with segregationists, Jack. What do you think I was doing when I was opposing busing? When I was opposing integration methods in the Democratic side of Congress? Why would you turn around and not vote for me? Things are looking absolutely great for the boy right now. I don't want to blow my load too quick, okay? I don't want to blow my load all over the place too quickly, because there's going to have to be a significant cleanup on aisle 7 and aisle 11, baby. I'm all over the place. Oh my God, it feels so good. Holy mother of Lord. Let's take a look at these Nevada caucus results. Once again, early. Now, there is a distinction between the early vote count that's coming in, okay? We're gonna be going back here. The entrance polls are surveys of voters as they enter the caucus locations. They're not the most reliable, okay? It's good for demographics, but it's not necessarily good for mapping out a psychographic profile, obviously. And they change, so, I mean, they swing wildly, okay? But look at this, 67% of 17 to 29. I wonder who that purple is. 30 to 44, 54%. 45 to 64 is when things get a little tricky, but he still has the plurality at 26%. And then 65 and over, all of a sudden, back down to 11%. That, my man, is unity.
You don't love
okay?
the spirit of
Bernie
justice.
Sanders
You
is
love your
uniting
father, the devil.
age groups.
What
Bernie
happens if
Sanders
Bernie
is
has a heart
uniting
attack out of
in
excitement
all
if he's
but
elected?
class, okay? That's the distinction. The reason why they say our boy is divisive is because he is divisive from the current existing way of dividing society. Currently, under a neoliberal capitalist hegemony. Heard reports from campaign volunteers that casino workers were told by their bosses they couldn't leave to come caucus. That's illegal, by the way. That they couldn't come until 12:15, doors closed at 12. That this time also counted as their lunch break and other suppression tactics. Democracy in action. Everything that they mentioned here, everything that the labor bosses did here is illegal. Will they get even a slap on the wrist for it? Absolutely not. Everything that they did. One of the most common things that we saw on the ground when canvassing was, especially from like cab bosses, from what I understand from Touring News, when he was talking to them, was the misinformation. When he was canvassing the cab areas, like, they didn't know. They didn't know that they could take time off for free. They could have a paid lunch leave. They could have a paid leave, and that they could go and vote. By the way, in other good news, of course, a morning consult poll came out. Now these are like, isn't this a flash poll? Like this is not super indicative of like long-term trends. We don't know how Michael Bloomberg's debate performance is going to bear out for him, but this is the only, I believe at the time, the only available polling data on post Michael Bloomberg's Nevada debate. So Mini Mike B, turns out, is no longer surging. He got a 3%. He lost 3% of support. Meanwhile, Bernie Sanders got plus 2 points, went up from 28% to 30%. Elizabeth Warren also got a 2-point pickup. Mini Mike B, you probably should have stood on top of your box. Loser. Mini Mike B is a loser. Crazy Bernie is coming for him. They're trying. My man Trump said MSNDNC last night. He said MSNDNC. He's so insufferable, dude. I mean, it's like he's like a Jimmy Dore watcher. Like, he sounds like one of those Jimmy Dore watching boomers. You know what I mean? They are the guys who say stuff like MSNDNC. Please don't say that if you're in my audience. Seriously. This thing, even if he wins, mainstream media is just going to claim he won because of Russia. What do we do about this? I'm worried this Russia shit's going to hurt Bernie. The only thing that we can do is exactly what we've been doing. What do I tell you? They f*** you. They claim that you're divisive. They claim that your campaign is bad. They claim that you will lose to Donald Trump. They claim that you guys are all harassers, serial harassers. That one feminist chick that a lot of like Bernie bros and people got pissed off in 2016 was literally saying something. Sadie Doyle was saying something along the lines of like, you know, Bernie's what was the tweet? Does anyone have the tweet actually? There's two insane tweets that I want to look at. Like, pure projection, dude. Pure projection. Like, one of them was like, my father was abusive. So, you know, so all men that are yelling, I automatically think are abusive. Like, why would you admit that? Like, why would you go on the timeline and think you did a good thing? To be like, my daddy used to throw plates. And so every time I see Bernie Sanders getting angry about Medicare for all, it's the same as my daddy being abusive. Once my dad spent a few hours making a pot roast, and when he thought it was slightly overdone, he picked up each plate on the table and flung it at the wall. We didn't get to eat that night. Yeah, I guess you were lucky that your associations with men yelling are positive. I'm sorry you don't like it when Bernie yells, but not all of us grew up in frigid wasp homes. Like, this is a mask-off moment. Now, don't go and reply to Sadie Doyle or whatever her name is. Okay, don't do that. Because, like, these people get off on your attention. This is like the point. They say stuff like this and they're completely delusional and like it is transparently showing everyone that like the reason why you don't like Bernie is purely for aesthetics. You don't like an old guy who flings his hands in the air and yells and is animated about what? Restoring economic justice to the working class? Like, what the What a idiotic tweet, dude. Yeah, no. Bernie yelling about Medicare for all and like trying to increase unionization rate is exactly like your abusive dad. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't realize Sadie Doyle grew up in the Bernie Sanders household and that Bernie was literally his father.
Characterization from our decision desk of this race, and it is this, and you'll forgive the rather obtuse wording. Too early to call, but Bernie Sanders has a significant lead in the initial preference results based on early entrance polls. Such as it is, that is our early determination. Too early to call, but Bernie Sanders, we feel, has...
Okay, bro. You want to qualify that a little bit further? Guys, listen. I'm sorry. It brings me no pleasure to report this, and we're not going to show you what the percentage breakdown is because it just really is sad. It's a sad state of affairs.
You don't love the spirit of
but
justice.
there's an overwhelming
devil.
support. By the way, for anyone that even tries to say that there is Russian interference in the caucus, listen, suck my entire cock, okay? From the tip all the way to the shaft and gargle my balls as well. Because a caucus, as we have mentioned before, is deeply difficult to rig, as we saw and as I talked about in Iowa. The only people that can rig a caucus are the people who control the levers of power, and those motherfuckers are not exactly pro-Russia or pro-Bernie Sanders. They will do everything they can to change the results, but again, it is incredibly difficult to with caucus results. There's physical presence there. There are bodies in the room. Okay? Also, remember guys, Conspiracy Andy. We are the Conspiracy Andys when Troy Price or Pierce or whatever his name is literally had to resign because other people that worked alongside him were uncomfortable with his deep ties with the people that literally work or are closely related to the Pete Buttigieg campaign. We are the Conspiracy Andys. They aren't when they say it's Russia that are sending Russian gopniks in tracksuits over to the Nevada caucuses like, hello, I am Las Vegas resident, Hernando Montoya. How are you doing? Please, let me tell you, I am Caucasus, and I am Caucasian from Caucasus Mountains, like that. Anyway, not from the Caucasian Mountains. Of course, I am from Nevada. I live in desert, like red. It me. Not Russian agent. It me. I'm here to caucus for you. I really love Bernard Sanders.
You don't love the spirit of justice.
Yeah.
You love your father, the devil.
I'm sorry. I'm getting reports right now that are telling me on the ground that there is an army of Russians in tracksuits, and it is reflected in the early polling that there is an army of Russians in tracksuits that have illegally stolen social security numbers and have stolen Nevada IDs and are caucusing in favor of Bernie Sanders. Watch for who finishes second in Nevada. A Sanders victory won't be a surprise. The attention will be go to the next best finisher. Wow. That's interesting. Coming from Bloomberg, the website, the news source. That doesn't seem weird. Cope. But when I was talking to these people, especially the one guy I'm talking about, when we were talking about it, he was like, I love Bernie Sanders. I mean, Bernie was great in 2016. I wanted to vote for him, but I couldn't because, Hillary won. And he didn't understand why caucusing was so important. Like, he didn't understand that, like, the reason why Hillary won was because most people don't have time to go out and caucus, and most people don't have time to go out and vote. They don't know that they're supposed to. Okay? They don't know that they're supposed to go out and, like, actually have a say in the direction of the Democratic Party. The thing, though, the thing that was really enlightening was when I was talking to this dude, and he said, Isn't Michael Bloomberg the same as Donald Trump? I swear to God, not even a high info voter, low info voter, like, doesn't really watch television at all. And he just goes, isn't Donald Trump, isn't Michael Bloomberg the same, like that, he's like that rich guy, Bloomberg, isn't the same as Trump? And it was awesome, dude, because this guy doesn't watch television. He doesn't know, probably doesn't even know the extent of why Michael Bloomberg is a piece of shit and very similar to Donald Trump.
You love the spirit of justice. You
but
love your father.
That played in our favor in that conversation, because if he was watching MSNBC, you wouldn't really get that narrative. You wouldn't really come to that conclusion that Michael Bloomberg is very similar to Donald Trump. But he is. When I say it, I'm a psycho. Which, by the way, when I was talking to that guy who does detailing and works 30-hour shifts on the weekends, I should have probably been like, I'm sorry, sir. Michael Bloomberg and Donald Trump are not the same. Actually, as a matter of fact, sir, there are drastic differences in ideology between Michael Bloomberg and Bernie Sanders. Also, Michael Bloomberg's climate change policy is going to be a little bit different than Donald Trump. Only marginally better, but actually, you're wrong.
You love your father.
Now go out and vote for the millionaire. Things are looking too good for Bernie Sanders. Should he drop out to equalize the situation on the ground? If Bernie Sanders loves democracy and socialism so much, why doesn't he socialize his votes to other candidates? I don't know. Seems a little hypocritical. Also, he's going to hit the ceiling soon. Also, there is a massive group of neoliberals out there who are probably going to eventually come to their senses and say, no, I don't want Medicare for all. As a matter of fact, I'm genuinely interested in making sure that the free market enterprise puts profit over people like they have for as long as we've been alive. I want the free market economy to me in my ass every time I'm getting preventative medical care and things of that nature. This is what I want. We want tax credits. We do not want any sort of economic justice. The only kind of justice is when you finger wag at other people and weaponize about how they are racist or how they are sexist, and then offer absolutely zero solutions that genuinely help the black and brown communities or the LGBT community in general. That is how you do social justice, folks. Everything else outside of this neoliberal center that we see in the mainstream is disgusting, is wrong, is morally abhorrent. The only way to fight for social justice is to sit there and say, let black women speak. I, as a white man, am here on MSNBC to say, let black women speak. But when they do speak, like Nina Turner, or when they do speak, like Breonna Joy Gray, both important members of the Bernie Sanders campaign, then those are white Bernie bros, and they spoke too much. This is your brain on motherfucking mainstream media politics, okay? No wonder. Why are people not feeling this way? I was shocked, okay? I was absolutely shocked. This is precisely why I want you guys, especially if you live in a Super Tuesday state, to go out and canvas, okay? You will meet a lot of cuties as well. That's also good. You will actually get to socialize and make friends and organize. Organizing is an incredible feeling. Please, 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 please do this. I tried to make it look as cool as possible for you guys. I don't know if I did that. I think I failed a little bit. But, like, this is why, if you're not going to do it for Bernard, if you're not going to do it because you want to actually help out personally, do it because it makes you feel so good when you talk to some people on the ground and realize they're not like the extremely online people.
Fascinating that racist liberal whites seem to love them some Bernie Sanders consistently, and always have a problem with any person of color who doesn't want to follow with the orthodoxy of their Lord and Savior Bernie Sanders. The man cares nothing for intersectionality, and I don't care how many people from the island of misfit black girls that you throw out to defend you on a regular basis. It doesn't mean that your campaign is serious.
By the way, this is fireable. You know me, I don't give a shit about cancel culture, but if MSNBC applied the same metrics, they would fire this person. 100%. Island of Misfit Black Girls, that's Nina Turner and Breonna Joy Gray he's talking about.
These, again, are people who work on the Strip within 2.5 miles of the Bellagio, largely people of color. Of those, the majority are Latino, and they are clearly, at least from eyeballing it, strongly in favor of Bernie Sanders, with Joe Biden coming in second.
What? What? What is that, dude? What is that? Nuts. Freaking nuts, dude. Just absolute insanity. She just had an audible sigh. Oh, here's the Chris Matthews
Washington
one.
Post.
It's one Bernie.
Out of left field.
I'm wondering whether the Democratic moderates want Bernie Sanders to be president. I mean, that's maybe too exciting a question to raise. They don't like Trump at all. Do they want Bernie Sanders to take over the Democratic Party in perpetuity? Well, I mean, he takes it over. He sets the direction for the future of the party. Maybe they'd rather wait 4 years and put in a Democrat that they like.
Central Park in Denmark. Denmark and Central Park.
Out of left field.
Executions in Central Park when the Reds win. It's not like Denmark. Oh, Denmark.
I mean, look, if the Republicans want you, and the Russians want you, and the Russians also want Trump, what does that say about your campaign? What does it say that you are the preferred Democrat to challenge Donald Trump by Vladimir Putin, who thinks that he wants Trump
Well, let's break those both down, because it's a really important point, and it's a little weedsy. Trump wants him,
right?
Because for the same reasons that Bloomberg tried to articulate from the stage. Trump thinks he's...
But Trump wants Bloomberg. Trump has said he wants Bloomberg. So when Donald Trump says, I want Michael Bloomberg, he's lying. But when Donald Trump says Crazy Bernie's winning and like MSNBC is trying to stop him and, you know, DNC is trying to stop him, then he also wants Bernie? So which one is it? Because it seems like y'all are just making this shit up as you go along, homie. What the f***? Bend the knee. 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 Genuflect. 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 Ooh, 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 ooh. Elizabeth Warren supporters, we welcome you into the winning team. Thank you for coming. It's very nice to have you. Lovely, lovely to have you here. Wait, is this the same... Wait, is this the same lady who was like sighing and she's just on the timeline sighing again?
Like,
she's just like openly devastated.
Like there's been a split in the only 6 votes that were for Elizabeth Warren that could go in the realignment. That's the final number we're working on, but just roughly it looks like 75 supporters at this point for Bernie Sanders, 45 for Joe Biden. Nobody else with any delegates, nobody else made the cut. Elizabeth Warren only had 6 people, Brian.
Why is she crying? Is there a reason why she's crying? Let's take a look. Speaking of how much will the libs mauled, let's take a look at how much the libs are maulding. Ladies and gentlemen, I have another Chris Matthews video here where he is apparently comparing Bernie Sanders' victory to the fall of France under Nazi Germany.
I'm reading last night about the fall of France in the summer of 1940, and the general, Renault, calls up Churchill and says, it's over. And Churchill said, how can it be? You got the greatest army in Europe. How can it be over? He said, it's over. So I had that suppressed feeling. I can't be as wild as Carville, but he is damn smart. And I think he's damn right on this one. I'm reading last night.
Oh, I can't even mold anymore. Because, like, Central Park and Denmark. There's a white lady on MSNBC now suggesting that Latinos are voting for Bernie because the pro-Bernie kids in the Spanish in the family are manipulating their parents who can't speak English. Another white guy on here suggested that his disproportionately Latino base was locked in by early voting and wouldn't have supported Warren if they could have. That's really good. That's really good. You love to see them pearl clutching about the initial preference vote where Bernie's winning absolutely decisively as well. I like that the cope is so strong in this one because even in the initial preference voting, Bernie's still winning. Just not as decisively. I mean, still decisive victory, mind you. Okay? Doubling up on Biden's support in the initial preference voting. And they're still trying to be like, well, the initial preference voting is kind of like the popular vote. Maybe we should focus on that. What a pathetic display. Boys, what a pathetic display. These people are showing their asses over and over again. What an incredible moment. Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching this devastation. You are watching this absolute breakdown live in front of your eyes, ladies and gentlemen. It is happening. It is happening, and I'm here for it. This is better than a way that I could have predicted. I could have never predicted that this would be this delicious. The tears.
Influence. He even got the call.
Maybe Ben Shapiro was right. Maybe the only form of sustenance that tastes like sweet nectar are liberal tears. So we can analyze these numbers as well, but currently the final alignment shows Bernie Sanders with 53.59% of the vote, with Joe Biden not, I mean, this is, yikes. Joe Biden at 15%, barely meeting viability. Now, this is only 2.77 precincts reporting, and it's 30% of the expected vote. I believe that's also increased. I believe Bernie Sanders is at 55% on some of the polls that we were looking at. This is, of course, the Associated Press Daily Coast election results. Breaking news, Jake Tapper says the national security official he spoke to Thursday said the intelligence states the Russians as of now have no preference. So what NSA O'Brien states about Sanders completely contradicts that. Stand by for what that national security official has to say in response. Now, this is, of course, in regards to the new move that they're moving, the final trump card, as you will, that they have activated, which is Bernie Sanders is in the pocket of Big Putin. They originally said Bernie Sanders was in the pocket of big nurses. They said Bernie Sanders was in the pocket of young activists in the Sunrise Movement, the dark money groups they called the Sunrise Movement. And now they're saying Bernie Sanders is a Russian asset and that Putin is actually trying to get him elected. And that's why Putin sent his Russian agents over to Nevada to caucus on behalf of Bernie Sanders. I'm, of course, embellishing. I'm making fun of the ludicrous claims that they're stating here. It's idiotic. It's nonsensical. And it's the final desperate cry that liberals have. The final desperate sigh that they have in their arsenal as they try to comprehend how Bernie Sanders has destroyed all of their expectations.
Chris Matthews is standing by with a special guest from the Sanders campaign. Chris?
Hi, thank you, Brian. I think we're both in the rain here. This is not a very dry city tonight.
Not at all.
Senator, looks like, I can't tell by the polls they're not. We're getting information on our own account. We're getting a bit of it, but it looks like a huge night for Senator Sanders.
This is incredible.
Three popular vote victories in a row.
Chris, look out. Chris, look out. It's a Nazi. Chris, watch out. That's a Nazi you're talking to. Breaking news. This is more important. My favorite psychopath is losing her mind on the timeline. Sanders is much more appealed with non-white voters than previously thought. We were right. This GOP 2016 all over. Failure to challenge leader until it is too late. Mod candidates with little non-white support must leave for Biden to have a shot. For Bloomberg must go negative versus Bernie. Many never Trumpers will gladly vote for Bernie, but I will fear college-educated whites in suburbs will not. Sanders will lose, and Senate will stay Republican. Trump will have a field day oppo on Bernie. With our democracy in peril, Dems are playing high-risk horrid ramifications. There is no oppo that hasn't been done on Bernie. The only oppo research that you can do on Bernie is smears. Say he's a communist, say he has houses, like really dumb shit that's not going to play well. That's it. Now we've moved on from like actual opposition research to there could be opposition research. Anansi88 brings up a good point. Every single demographic is either for or against Bernie at some point. How weird the way that plays out. How weird the way that has played out so far. Black people don't like Bernie. Oops, black people do like Bernie. Hispanics don't like Bernie. Oops, Hispanics do like Bernie. White people don't like Bernie. Oops. I guess white people do like Bernie too. I mean, who knows? Who knows? Why? I don't know. Nobody likes Bernie. I promise. Please, can you please believe me? When I say nobody likes Bernie, can you please? I mean, no one will like Bernie when we find the new opposition research. When the new opposition research comes out. The way I see this, honestly, is if we're making conservative psychos this scared, that's a good thing, baby. She's a conservative. She openly states she's a conservative. She's conservative opinion writer at Washington Post. So who gives a fuck what she thinks, man? Why the fuck is she on MSNBC to begin with? Oh, this is so good. Jay Rubin, blogger, Jennifer Rubin, the wacko conservative. The Washington Post must learn how to spell the name Bloomberg before it's too late, and he is gone. Gone like a dog. A dog. I can't believe Trump murdered Jennifer Rubin. Like a dog. Oh, what is that? I didn't even notice what was going on here. It's so good.
You know, based on what I have seen today in Texas, we were in El Paso, we're here now. Don't tell anybody. I don't want to get them nervous. We're going to win the Democratic primary in Texas.
Don't tell them.
And you know, this is also important. The president gets very, very upset easily. So don't tell him that we're going to beat him here in Texas.
That's nuts, dude. Don't tell him.
I'm delighted to bring you some pretty good news. I think
I got a big dick.
You know,
that's the news.
The popular vote in Iowa. We won the New Hampshire primary. And according to 3 networks in the AP, we have now won the Nevada caucus.